We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Thank you, Saina. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Again, it feels like it's been quite a while since I've been here, so it's good to be back. I think it's the first time I'm back since Regina's retirement, so I was out of the country at the time, but I wanted to say just how grateful I am for this beautiful legacy of shared consciousness that just continues to expand and flower into something wonderful. And I'm sure everyone here can just attest to that. I came to Awakening Together in 2016, and my life has never been the same. It's Regina's teachings and her openness to truth in all of its forms that have allowed for such an amazing experience here. So thank you, Regina. And can all meet in the room. And signing now, I will share with you our purpose and values here at Awakening Together. There is consistent wisdom in the universe. It shows up in all religions and philosophy, in all cultures, and throughout time. This wisdom is not unique or new. It is owned by no one and by no organization. No one has to go to a special place or special teacher to find it. It is the most abundant wisdom in the universe. Once one opens their heart to this wisdom, it appears everywhere by the hand of universal grace. Statement of purpose for today is core value 3. We accept one true self, which is one presence or being non-dual, without being or end, and absolutely changeless. We live this value by practicing letting go of the belief in the individual self as who we are. So now we will go over announcement. A Lifetime by David Byrne. I don't know if some of you remember him. I think this song came out in 1980. And at that time I was pretty young, probably in high school. And I just thought this guy is crazy because the video just looked like he was having an acid trip. But looking at the words now, extremely meaningful. In his own words, he was trying to describe what the song was about. And according to David Byrne, in his own words, the song Once in a Lifetime is about how we as people tend to operate half awake or on autopilot. Or perhaps a better way of explaining that statement is that we do not actually know why we engage in certain actions which come to define our lives. Thus, even though an individual may fulfill certain aspirations, such as acquiring a large automobile, which he says in the song, or a beautiful house and a beautiful wife, at the end of the day, he may find himself questioning how, in fact, did he reach such a destination? In other words, throughout the entire course of achieving these goals, the person who actually did so was not necessarily acting under his own accord. Indeed, by the time the second verse rolls around, we find this self-same individual is basically disowning his acquisitions and seems to be questioning his own volition. So the denial of acquisitions is not about materialism. It's about, denying his or questioning, again, his own volition. The forces of nature, which he mentions often, like the ocean or the water in the song, keep you moving almost without your conscious effort, like a ventriloquist moving a puppet, he said. So, Saina, go ahead and play the song. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that. So now we will have our prayer. And just come fully into this moment, into the fullness, into the preciousness of this moment. Breathing in this moment. Coming fully here. Knowing that there is no separation here, just wholeness and oneness. We deepen into this knowing as self, as we could not be otherwise. Though life would show its many appearances, as we let it be, nature takes its course, unassisted, and the truth remains that we are unchanged. This one mind in its infinite diversity, still one. May this truth become a deep knowing for us all. So it is. So now we'll have a reading by a member, and the reading is from a book called The One in the Mirror by Ramesh Balsekar. These are just some simple short passages or quotes from ranging from free will to meditation. They focus on the practical aspect of spirituality. So I'm just focusing on just a few of the quotes that spoke to me at the time that I read the book, and I hope you enjoy them. And Saina is my reader. Thank you, Saina.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, everyone. So here we go for the reading. Intervals between thoughts. It's so very necessary to clearly understand the intervals between thoughts. They're not brief glimpses of a world surrounding us or messages from such a world. Thoughts arise in the conditioned aspect of consciousness. It is consciousness that shines clear in the interval between thoughts. Such intervals reveal us as we are. We then know ourselves as pure consciousness. It is precisely to this realization that we have to awaken from our living dream. We tend to believe that intuition squeezed through the thought intervals from somewhere or the other and reach our brains or our mind, our cognitive faculties. This is the nonsense of identification. These between thought flashes are moments when we are ourselves. Thoughts arising in the conditioned aspect of consciousness are related to the dream figure with which we are identified. Intuition, looking within, is really looking from within. Intuition is our impersonal self, and that self with a capital S. And when we recognize this, we become it for the duration of the apprehension. The awareness of thoughts is we as consciousness, but then they are our objects, whereas intuitions are subjective and consciousness itself. The interval between is pure and personal I. Quietness. When true seeing happens without a me as the observer, without the image, without the opinion and the judgment of the me observer, one suddenly recognizes that something that is extraordinary, the silence of the mind, the purity of what is observed. And this quietness is not something that can be cultivated. It is the result of a deep, profound attention to what is. This extraordinary gift remains until the me observer returns and smashes the gift to smithereens. An eternal present. Every sense perception is in itself obviously spontaneous, impersonal, instantaneous. It is in the present moment, the only present we can ever know. However, as soon as the perception occurs that we as a subject have perceived the object, as soon as intellection has taken place, the present has already gone, because the intellect cannot operate on anything that is not already past. Intellect can feed only on dead meat. The living perception is slayed by the act of cognition. It is only our memory that creates the past. It is only our desire for something or our fear about something that creates the future. In other words, we only know the past and imagine the future. Does the present ever exist for us? It is always a memory before we can conceive it. We have only to think for a moment. The past can only be a trick of memory based on which recollections differ. And the future only a fabrication for the fulfillment of a desire. Can there really be anything other than the eternal present? The present moment? Detachment. It is a simple fact that it is necessary to detach oneself from the limitations of habits imposed by our three-dimensional conditioning, so that one can be open and receptive to the fourth dimension. Detachment is not the totalization of achieved effective indifference. The suppression of pride and arrogance, desire, anger, or whatever cannot destroy their cause. A disease cannot be cured by suppressing the symptoms. When the personal doership and its effectivity is transcended, all its manifestations automatically disappear. Only by understanding the falsity and the futility of the effectivity of personal doership, upon which the ego depends for its sustenance and strength, can detachment happen. I'm going to read that paragraph again. When the personal doership and its effectivity is transcended, all its manifestations automatically disappear. Only by understanding the falsity and futility of the effectivity of personal doership, upon which the ego depends for its sustenance and strength, can detachment happen. And this is the last one. Harmony. In the end, all happiness can be reduced to three words: me, the other, and the relationship between the two. If the relationship is harmonious, there is happiness. If the relationship is unharmonious, happiness is absent. Thank you, Beverly. That concludes the reading. I hand it back to you.
Thank you, Saina. That was beautiful. Thank you. So I'm just going to go over just the different quotes that Saina just read and just, what I gleaned from them. Starting with interval between thoughts. He says, we tend to believe that intuition squeeze through the thought intervals from somewhere or the other and reach our brain or our mind, our cognitive faculties. He states this is the nonsense of identification identification. These between thought flashes are moments when we are ourselves. To see ourselves as the insight rather than the one who is receiving the insight is a completely different point of view. I am the power rather than I felt the power. I am the stillness, the now, the presence, rather than professing to have had an experience of these so-called states. The intuitions that would seem to squeeze through these thought intervals, that's me. How did I miss me by identifying as the experiencer of what I am rather than what I actually am? When I wondered, where did the peace go? Then I know I am identified as a separate being and have fallen into the very personal matrix of what it means to be human, or more specifically, what it means to be Beverly. This matrix is very specific to Beverly and what it means to be Beverly. The definition of what it means to be Beverly has evolved over the years, but it is still a complex process. The error comes in when there is the belief that this process is real. I have been diversified into child, sibling, student, wife, mother, employee, and all of the experiences that go along with that. And lying in the background of this body-mind apparatus, and all of this is the self, water flowing underground. It is only this body-mind that feels there was a glimpse of the self. And then the self becomes this myth, this thing I saw once, like a Bigfoot sighting or something. We have mind photographs and recorded memories of what the self could look, feel, or sound like when all the while we are it. And we try to convince ourselves that self is real, when what else could we be? We could play Where's Waldo games with the self. And what we would find is that this is the self believing it is small and limited. This is the self believing it is not enough. This is the self believing it is finite. This is the self believing that it's possible to suffer. This is the self believing it could come to an end or that it could come and go, all the while being the self. Identified and all, we can recognize it in its many disguises. And in those thought intervals, this is the self as itself. No less the self than it was before, but without identification. The hand without the glove. We are playing our own version of Hunger Games where we think we have to earn the right to thrive, have peace, or be happy through whatever obstacle or karmic pattern that we've created, setting up a new game each time. And it seems the rules keep changing. Then there's a breach in what we thought was real, and we see that the game is not real, and that it can be hacked, and that the programming can be interrupted. When we realize that the thought interval is truly the only constant and not the interruption, then we see the hand and begin to recognize the glove immediately, and that nothing has ever changed, same as it ever was. Quietness. It says silence is not something that can be cultivated. It is the result of the deep, profound attention to what is. And that this extraordinary gift remains until the me observer returns and smashes the gift to smithereens. Quite a visual. So in essence, silence cannot be cultivated any more than the self can be cultivated. It just is. We can cultivate the habit of directing attention to what already is. No me, no image, opinion, or judgment. The me observer is like a virus. It has come with its own programming and agenda and is very, very persistent, even if it makes absolutely no sense. It infects this moment with absolute nonsense. No, I always have a story, right? So last week, unbeknownst to me, I was in the midst of an evolving flu-like illness. And I had just come home from work. I made a beeline for my bedroom. I didn't even say hi to my girls. I just went straight to my bed. I wasn't feeling well. My brain was not cooperating with me, and I couldn't find my pajamas. And I looked for my pajamas for about 20 minutes. Now, this is a red flag that things are going south. I had severe fatigue and it was just coming down on me. And I was determined to find the ones that I liked. So I finally found them wet and hanging on a rack in plain sight. And I was determined to find ones that I liked. And so I was also trying to do other things. Like I had a sty that I saw my eye doctor for the other day, and I had this warm compress. I was running back and forth to the microwave with the compress and putting it on my eye. And I also had my cell phone and a podcast running. I was doing the most for somebody who was sick. And you can see I had a lot going on. And I could feel myself going down, but I kept busy doing nothing I needed to be doing in the state that I was in. And on my fifth run to the microwave, I had my cell phone in one hand and my compress in the other, and I tossed something into the microwave. I can't tell you what it was. And went to the dryer to go get my pajamas. Now, which item do you think I tossed into the microwave? I came back after removing my pajamas from the dryer, and you should have seen my face when I opened the microwave and saw my phone smoking, stinking up the place. And the first thing that came to my mind was, you cannot tell anyone about this. But I had to tell the insurance people what happened. And they thought they'd heard it all. They were like, I heard somebody accidentally shot their phone, ran over their phone, and they just went over the plethora of all the things that they witnessed. They're like, this takes the cake. So obviously I was not operating at full capacity. I took the next 2 days off. I didn't have COVID. I was okay. I don't know what that was. Flu, I don't know. A similar event happened to someone who's very close to me, who I'll call Mary. And she was in the midst of a similar flu, and her husband called me and said, you need to pick Mary up from the mall. She's in Macy's and the ambulance is there. She's okay, but they don't want her to drive home. And he sounded very flat and unconcerned and unexcited. I thought that was really strange. And I said, the mall? What is she doing at the mall? She's sick. She has the flu. What is she doing now? And he just said, I know. And she felt the need, apparently, he said, to return some curtains to Macy's before the mall closed, right? So I'm like, oh my God. So I call this a flu thought, or the doer on steroids. When I got there, I saw this person I kind of recognized, and I thought, are those pajamas? You know, her hair was all over her head, and why is she wearing that crazy hat? And if I could have turned around in that moment and walked back out of the door, I probably would have. I'd already made my medical assessment crazy. She was sitting on a Macy's counter, feet swinging, looking homeless, and holding her chest and breathing hard. And when I spoke to the EMTs, who were completely uninterested or seemed uninterested in her medical presentation, I realized she had pushed herself to the brink of a panic attack by, going out when she should have stayed home. And this is the kicker. Bag in hand, she still wanted to return the curtains. So the public health announcement is, if you have a cold or you have a flu and your mind is telling you to do things you have no business doing, just go and sit and lie yourself down somewhere and just don't move. So back to my saga. After a display of profanity, images, judgments, opinions, and a me that would not shut up about what had just happened, there was just silence. It was done. There was nothing else to be done. Then I was challenged to return to that nothing as I continually reached for my phone for this and that. And I would then again return to this nothing. Mind would chime in about how was I going to get things done? How was I going to recover everything on my phone? My phone was toast. And then again, the thoughts would pitter off into nothing. And I began to enjoy the silence and the disconnection. And yet I felt more connected to what is than ever. And it wasn't long before I was secretly happy that I didn't have my phone. It was a reminder that silence is never hidden. We are hiding from it. When there is no me, silence is actually deafening. As the passage says, it is an extraordinary gift until the me observer returns and smashes the gift into smithereens. Or put your phone in the microwave, or return curtains to Macy's. Of course, the silence is untouchable, but the me observer would seem to obscure, disturb, or obliterate it. And if we could accept this too as part of the whole of what is, without trying to get rid of it, then its impact would be negligible. An eternal present. As soon as intellection has taken place, the present has already gone, because the intellect cannot operate on anything that is not already past. Intellect can only feed on dead meat. The living perception is slayed by the action of cognition. And this line really stuck with me, I guess just the visual of it, that the intellect can only feed on dead meat. He says we are slaying perceptions in every moment. Every sense perception, it says, is spontaneous, impersonal, and instantaneous. It seems that it is the me that shows up to do the slaying, putting its own spin on what has been perceived. The present is always a memory before we can conceive it, he says. We remember what happened last time we interacted with this person, last time we trusted, last time we had this experience, last time it rained, last time it was sunny, last time we went to this event. Nothing comes to us purely without this cognitive sieve. He says it is only our memory that creates the past, and it is only our desire for something or our fear about something that creates the future. Then I realized that even desire and fear many times are based on the past. Desires triggered by something unwanted or wanted that has already manifested, and fear is based on something that has already been processed and judged in the past as well. And he asks us to consider this. The past can only be a trick of memory based on which recollections differ, and the future only a fabrication for the fulfillment of desire. Can there really be anything other than an eternal present, the present moment? If intellect can only feed on dead meat, then there is really nothing to think about. What can intellect add to this moment? I find that this truth is beautiful to dive into when I'm carried away with fear or doubt. What is it to do nothing with the thoughts that arise? They have the stench of old news. I would rather be this now moment than listen to the intellect talk about it as if it has broken the story. The story, the thoughts, the feelings are never, ever new. Detachment. He states that detachment is not indifference, nor is it suppression. I have myself gone from indifference with the secret agenda of affecting an outcome as a separate being, a strategy of sorts. And I have used suppression or denial a great deal to deny what I have only intellectually understood has no substance. What I realize is that the appearances that I'm experiencing, with whatever reaction I may be having, thoughts, emotions, etc., must be allowed to be. And yet there is no one that does the allowing. It is already happening, so there is no need for me that needs to do anything about what already is. Allowing for me was a tricky word because it was still implying that there was someone that needed to do something. It's already happening. Emotion is here, the thoughts are here, the reaction is here, and that's it. There is no one to allow it. Allowing seems to involve ownership. If it doesn't belong to you, there is nothing to do about it. If it's not yours, then you don't need it to go. I realize that I don't need to have a relationship with what is. It doesn't need my stamp of approval or my strong negation. It's already negated. It doesn't belong to me. Sadness can come up, tears can happen, action can happen, and none of it mine. I realize that this is how you let yourself be lived. And as for suppression, I have used suppression to not see what is in the hopes that my lack of acknowledgement will lead to its disappearance, as if I'm doing something to make this happening so or not so. I feel the gloom and doom feeling in the core of my belly, ignoring it all the while doing spiritual practice with the hopes that if I execute with faithfulness, this nightmare will vanish. Not knowing all along that this gloom and doom feeling does not belong to me. It's just there. And the narrative that the me observer repeats over and over, which makes it seem real, is also just there. Nothing to do about it. It is not doing anything without my endorsement. It is just here, again, nothing to do. My biggest trip has been, what do I do with the one who is not getting it, or the one who seems to be on the merry-go-round? And the answer is nothing. There is no one here, a collection of thoughts, ideas, emotions, conditioning. When investigated, there is no one to get it or not get it. What is here remains to be seen again and again and again. If my interest in what is, however that is showing up, becomes greater than my interest in what isn't, the me observer and its interpretation of what's showing up, how might this empty space reveal itself next? This is the open question that has brought me to this place of curiosity. And then the last quote is harmony. It says, in the end, all happiness can be reduced to 3 words: me, the other, and the relationship between the two. If the relationship is harmonious, there is happiness. If the relationship is unharmonious, happiness is absent. Can I make peace with all of it? Do I need anything to go to be what I am? How can we love ourselves? Or how can we love what is truly? Of all the things, I was on my spin bike with my favorite instructor, and she was talking about self-love. You know how they like to inspire you while you're killing yourself? No, I'm joking. But it was a beautiful, beautiful message that she was kind of giving. And she was talking about wedding vows, and what if these wedding vows were said to yourself instead of another person? And I was like, huh. And decided to rephrase, these traditional Christian values, and took license with them as if the self was talking to self. And it goes like this: I, as self, take thee, Beverly, also the self, to be an individualized expression of I am, to have and to hold from this incarnation forward and for eternity, no matter the appearance, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till I reveal the two as one. This song I'm about to play, I see as a love song from self to self. How can we let the self care for us, give to us, nurture us when we feel divided and do not see oneness as an evident truth? Can we remember to surrender? Can we remember that we are never alone, and that as much as we are seeking, we are being sought relentlessly by what we are? Can we allow the self to love us differently and express a love that has no ceiling until we realize that we are that very self? And are we ready to let ourselves be lived and lit up by the self? The song is called Electricity by Dua Lipa. Hey. So, thank you everyone for being in the space that allowed this to happen. We can support Awakening Together by donating and clicking on the link the Saina will post in the room, and also by using the QR code in the sanctuary. This is also a time for sharing. If anyone would like to share, you can open it up for sharing now.
Beverly, I just wanted to say thank you. You always stretch me, so thank you for that. And I wanted to say I loved the recognition that when something comes into awareness perceptually, at that moment, we're no longer in the present. We've the conceptualization of it makes us fall into the past to connect it with an association that we've had before. I don't know that I'm saying that well, but you did. So thank you for that recognition.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
And Rhoda has her hand up.
I didn't expect tears. Tears. The way that you articulate the truth that is in our heart, it blows my mind every time. Thank goodness you keep blowing my mind. I am so grateful for this mind to be blown and for the heart to be wide open. And as often happens when I listen to homilies, there's just this inclination to just go back and listen again and just sit with it. It is truly, truly this sense of truth teaching just coming through so clearly. You know, when heart hears heart, there's nothing in me that can not open to it. And so just that expression of openness that's always here just comes alive. And Beverly, thank you for being that open vessel, a gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think I see Diane.
Hello, everyone. I'm getting so excited every Sunday morning to just sit here with all of you, getting these messages that comes from the heart again and again and again. It just reaffirms the truth. And thanks, Beverly, for the songs you shared, for these wonderful quotations, and you made me cry, you made me laugh, you made me dance. My spirit is still dancing right now. And I start my morning with dancing, recentering myself and dancing. So this is going to be my new song, the Electricity, because I always start with a song like that to get the energy going, like, you know, and to release what is not true, what is not real. And what I really liked in that song was this love has no ceiling. And that's what I've been feeling. It's infinite. And I cannot deny, I'll never let this feeling go. And yeah, like, you know, I don't want to let it go. Like, you know, And yet it's there. I don't need to hold on to it. It's there. It's present. It's always in my heart. I just need to go back in, to tap into the heart. And so I call that the electric charge, like, you know, to plug in and to let your heart speak and let your spirit dance. So I think that's what I'm going to keep from this lesson this morning. And I honor you and I love you and thank you for sharing that. Namaste.
Thank you. Nice meeting you. I think is it Corinne?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Beverly. Oh, yesterday, my heart is beating in the peace of God. I tried, that was a lesson from ACIM, and all day long, I had to go back to the book to remember that simple sentence. and I mean, I had an idea it had to do with the heart and peace and all that, but the words kept evading me. And then there were some thoughts that I was aware of that were not very peaceful, but I just rested with that, and that was good. And then this morning, let all things be exactly as they are. And which, you know, you sort of talked about that. And I got harmony was something that I've always wanted as an experience. And yeah, your wedding vows to the self, really. And you know, what can intellect add to this moment? I took some notes on what you said, and I just feel that I'm getting closer to the experience of being still and allowing that connection to just happen when it happens. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and also nice meeting you as well.
I was guided to be here today. And, you know, in all this summer, I've been immersed in worldly circumstances in my life. And I was involved in the Tao Te Ching course, the class over the summer. And one of the messages in that class from the Tao Te Ching was to, you know, be present to what is showing up in your life at the moment. And I've been doing that and really holding on to that. And it's been really challenging. And especially this weekend. And I woke up this morning and I was just guided to be here. And I'm so grateful because I realize, I'm really getting emotional now, that I've been so immersed in taking care of what's been showing up in my life that I haven't had the energy really to pay attention to what's real, capital R real, in my life. And your homily today brought me back to that. And I'm so grateful for that. What's resonating in my mind right now is, what's resonating in my mind right now is the truth of truth really being in the spaces between the thoughts. And that really is all there is. And, you know, just reminding me to pay attention to that, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what I'm engaged in at the moment in the world, that there is that space and it's accessible to me at every moment, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, and that is my truth. And there were so many beautiful messages that came through today for me, but I also love the marriage vows to the self, because I've been forgetting to look at my spiritual aspiration as well. And that reminded me, you know, the marriage vows, that it's really putting my signature and my oath on a commitment to remember the truth of who I am and to be that capital S self. So when I stray away from that, I'll just remember that I have committed to this. It's a very deep and very profound commitment to remember that I'm not this individual person, that there is no separation, that I am
one with, married with all that is, with the absolute. So I just want to thank you again. You've really helped me to shift back into my truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Beautiful sharing. I see Melanie's hand.
Yeah, thank you for your, I'm not sure what to call it, your homily or your words. And the phrase that I was really struck with was, as a vegetarian, it's like, I can't eat meat. I'm not attracted to meat. And, you know, dead meat just is for me, I cannot eat it. But yet I tend to be so cerebral and I think a lot. And that phrase, I think it was that the thoughts are like dead meat. Was that the phrase? So it's really making me ponder now about all my thoughts, and to see my thoughts as dead meat. I don't want them anymore. So is that what the phrase was saying, that when I have a thought, it's like dead meat because I'm not in the present moment? Like the present moment is not dead meat, but if I have a thought about the past or the future, it's like dead meat. I would just, I don't know if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, because I was really struck by that visualization and I think it could help me, but I feel like I need to understand it a little bit more. I don't know.
I think he was saying that the intellect is like dead meat. Like the intellect can only talk about the past. That as soon as something happens and the intellect comes in, it's dead meat. It's over already. And
Wow.
so that's kind of how I took it.
Oh, thank you. I love the visualization. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess we can move to our song. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to talk about that one just quickly. Give me 1 second. Okay. So this song is by Beyonce. It's called, I'm in a club state of mind lately, apparently. It's called Break My Soul. When she first released the song, I could not stop playing it. And it was released, I think, after things got a little lighter, maybe the beginning of the summer is when it was beginning to be released and people were starting to go outside, and there was this quit culture too that was happening. So people are questioning their value systems and what they want after, you know, being inside for so long. And the song repeats, "You won't break my soul." And it's a very liberating song because in fact, there is no other. You won't break my soul because you are me. We are co-happening. So life, karma, beliefs, your job, your drama, people, they can't break you because they are you. So she says a lot in the song, I'm telling everybody, and there's only one. You are everybody. And so in that spirit, Saina, you want to play the song? There we go. So, thank you again, everybody. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the space. And that was perfect timing, Saina. I couldn't have planned that better myself.
For watching. This was our weekly gathering that we hold online. For more information, you can visit our website at awakening-together.org, or you can subscribe to our Awakening Together channel and click the bell for more notifications when we post our weekly gatherings. Thank you again for watching.